one. You got the wrong one. In the wrong parak. Okay. Morning, everyone. We're learning Mishnah Bava Kamma, Parak Aleph, Chapter 1, Mishnah Gimel, Mishnah 3. Okay. Shum Kesef. Translated means the evaluation is in money. The evaluation of a damage has to be in money. What does that mean? So they explain from the Bar Tanura, this teaches that if, for example, Reuven's cow stepped on Shimon's coat and damaged it, okay, and later Reuven's cow broke its leg by slipping on Shimon's coat that was lying on the ground, where it is a hazard like a pit. The court does not say that since both suffered a loss, neither one pays the other. We don't just cancel out the damages. Rather, it makes an exact monetary evaluation of each person's loss, and whoever owes the larger amount pays the difference. So the point of the Mishnah is that no matter what the situation is, you have to evaluate the damage in money, in value, without just canceling out. That's the first thing. The next thing is v'shava kesef. Okay, now what this means is a very specific case. Literally means and something that is worth money. So what this case is talking about is the following. If the mazik, meaning the person responsible for the damage, dies and leaves property to his heirs, the victim cannot collect money or movable objects which are equivalent to money, but only that which is merely worth money, which is land. That means when you're dealing with the mazik himself, the person who's responsible directly, then, as we've spoken about, you can collect, there's three options. You can take money, you can take movables, you can take land. Once you're dealing with the heirs or the orphans, the heirs of the damage of the person responsible for the damaging, then the only thing you can actually take from them is land. And that's the wording v'shava kesef, and something worth money. Now, it's important to get a little bit more elaboration here. So we're saying that the word shava kesef, worth money, means land. Land is called worth money in contrast to movable property, which is called money. Since movable property can be taken anywhere and is therefore easy to sell, it is almost as useful as money. Land, on the other hand, is merely worth money because it cannot be taken to buyers. Rather, buyers must be brought to the land, which makes selling it more difficult. As long as the mazik is alive, meaning the person responsible directly is alive, there is no difference between cash, movable property, and land. He must pay with whatever he has. After he dies, however, and leaves his estate to orphans, that's when things change. When you're dealing with the estate of orphans, there we are, much stricter with what can be taken from them. The nizik, the person damaged, can take only the land in the estate and not cash or movable objects. So that's the second phrase, v'shava kesef, and worth money. Where if you're collecting from the orphans, you can only take land. Next, bifnei beistin, the decisions, which they explain, meaning the evaluation of damage and its collection from the damager or his family, and the evaluation and collection must sometimes be done by a court of expert judges. Now, it's interesting that they say must sometimes be done. So here is what we're talking about. Number 3, when you say the word based in, and in this context we said means expert judges. What do expert judges mean? So that is outstanding scholars who received smicha. And smicha here refers to the smicha that was first granted by Moshe to his students, who in turn granted it to their students, and so on through the generations. It is not to be confused with modern-day smicha. Modern-day smicha is a borrowed term, but smicha mentioned in the Gemara and the Mishna is a very specific smicha that starts from Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, in fact, the law allows for ordinary judges to decide most monetary cases, including claims of damage. Meaning, when you talk about ordinary judges means a bezdin of 3. They got to know what they're talking about. They don't have to have smicha. Okay, so most monetary cases, including claims of damage, don't need the experts. Judges with smicha are required only where the damage is unusual or the payment is a knas, is a penalty. It is not the same as the actual loss. If you're not paying according to the loss, then your payment is called a knas, it's called a fine. That can only be administered by a bezdin of smuchim, of those who are on that caliber of Torah knowledge. Okay, so that's what it means, b'fnei bezdin, in front of bezdin, va'alpi edim b'nei chayrin. Anything that will be established has to be from witnesses who are b'nei chayrin, they are free men, they are not slaves, referring to Canaanites, referring to non-Jewish slaves, b'nei bris, and the witnesses have to be members of the covenant, meaning they have to be Jewish. Those are your witnesses. Now, v'hanoshim b'chlal hanezek. Women are included in the damages in the laws of damages, which means if a woman causes damage, she owns an animal, she's responsible to guard it, she didn't guard it properly, she has to pay. If she's the nizik, if she's the one who suffers the damage, all the laws apply to her. There's no difference between a man and a woman when it comes to these laws of damaging, whether you are the damager or the one who got damaged. And then it says, v'hanizak v'hamanasik b'tashlumin. There are cases in which you have both the damager and the one damaged who are landing up paying. Now, what does that mean What does that mean exactly? So they explain, for example, if an animal was killed and later its carcass decreased in value. So that means like this. For instance, an animal worth 100 zuz was killed and its carcass was worth 10 zuz at the time of death. Meaning at the time of death, we evaluate we evaluate how much the damager has to pay by what loss, by what was the loss, because a carcass also has value. So therefore, the carcass's value is not part of what the damager has to pay. So if, let's say you have a animal that was worth 100 zuz, and then it got damaged, so it went down from 90 to 10. So how much does a damager have to pay? 90. What happens, though, if before the case was decided in court, the carcass decreased in value from 10 zuz to 5 zuz? It went down even more. The carcass went down in value. Even so, the mazik still has to pay only 90 zuz, and the nizik loses the 5 zuz of the carcass depreciation. Meaning the mazik is going to pay according to how much things were worth at the time of the damage. If the carcass goes down, decreases in value even more, not the problem of the mazik. It's really what the one who got damaged has to basically suffer. So that's what it means when the Mishnah says the damaged and the damager are in payment. You can have certain times where even the victim lands up paying to a certain degree. It's not literal paying. It's figurative saying sometimes when it comes to the damage, he's going to have to pay in the sense that he has animal damaged. The value of the carcass is going to go down in price. That's going to be his loss. He has to take the loss. So it comes out that at the end of the day, the damages that were caused by this incident, right, come out being more than what the damager pays, because if the carcass goes down in value, that's the loss of the person who got damaged. And therefore, that's what it means that when it got damaged paying, because he's also, so to speak, there's a damage that happens, there's a damage that's caused by what happened here, and at the end of the day, he takes the loss. So that's the figurative way of saying that he also pays for the damages. Okay, have a wonderful day.
Okay.